What is a local rumour you believed as a kid that turned out to be true years later? Serious answers only. I asked Reddit that question, and these are the best answers. US Midwest. Rumour has it that way up the old road out of town, somewhere in the woods, was a satanic cult that held seances and other mystical rituals by firelight. Scared the willies out of us kids, and our parents wouldn't let us ride our bikes anywhere on that road. Decades later, I was working on a commissioned history project for the town and talked to the old man who owned the oldest homestead in the county, way back in the woods along that road. While photographing the creek that ran through the stone foundation basement of the home, which the settlers used for water generations ago, I noticed the burned out tea candles everywhere. The guy lit up and said, yeah, back in his younger days, he and his wife used to host elaborate costume parties at the property, often by candlelight, for the fun of it. He'd heard the rumours of the satanic cult and thought it was hilarious, so he and his friends ran with it and held parties in monks' robes and had bonfires and lived it up. He still laughs about it, and now so can I. Wow, so I guess there were people down there all along, but they weren't really holding seances. This older kid had this lightning streak scar all over one side of his neck and down his body. The rumour was he was throwing stuff at the power lines behind our neighbourhood. Well, it turns out that he was. He was throwing copper wire at it and it arced. He's lucky to be alive. Yeah, but come on, at that point, I'm just thinking about natural selection here. If you're throwing copper wire at a power line, do you deserve to be alive? That's a question that you should answer in the comments down below. A girl in my high school was rumoured to have been dating one of the teachers who was married. Now this was probably true because after graduation, the teacher had retired, divorced his wife, and married the girl. Yeah, probably true. As in 100%. Oh, that is awful, but I guess I'm kind of glad they're happy? I don't know about that. The most popular boy in middle school disappeared after 7th grade. Literally, his parents sold their house and moved to a new house nearby, but pretty secluded. He enrolled in a really expensive private school and cut off all ties with his friends. At the same time, a really popular male social studies teacher went on leave. Rumours circulated that the boy was molested by the teacher, and that's why they were both gone. The other popular kids got really angry when people said that because they really liked both the teacher and the kid. Eventually, people stopped talking about it. Now fast forward to senior year in high school. He shows up at our prom as the date of his 5th grade girlfriend. That's the first time anyone had seen him in years. Apparently, he reached out to the girl to ask if she had a date because he wanted to see all of his old friends one last time. Apparently, he was molested by the teacher during tutoring sessions at the teacher's home. The school district and his parents agreed to bury it in exchange for tuition to the private school. He never wanted to leave and really resented his parents for it. By the time prom rolled around, he was 18 and they couldn't stop him. He wanted to set the story straight and let everyone know he was sorry for just disappearing. Wait, so you're telling me he revealed all of that at prom? Whoa. A vagrant-looking man used to collect cans from local parks and whatnot. Imagine someone pushing a shopping cart in tattered clothing. Well, the rumour was that he was generationally wealthy, and when he passed away, he left a fortune to the park and rec department to update facilities. What, he actually was? What was he doing pushing a cart around, collecting cans? Maybe he just earned all the money he ever wanted and was just like, well, what's the point anymore? Let's just screw around and make people think that I'm homeless. Kind of fun, I guess. Doctor in town, who was a huge football booster, gave prescription painkillers to high school kids. He passed away before it all came to light, so he never saw justice. Lots and lots of kids through the years, unsurprisingly, became addicted. Someone down below has asked, what is a football booster? They donate money and then get to have a say about the football team's activities and such. Think of the millionaire/billionaire donors for elections, but high school football. I see. So what was this guy's plan the whole time? Was he doing this on purpose? He must have been, right? He literally must have been. Oh, what a disgrace. This one is a little more lighthearted. But when I was in elementary school, probably like 3rd grade, all the kids in my class would joke about how our primary teacher and our Spanish teacher liked each other. We were all little kids, so of course it was just dumb little kids joking around. That is, until a few years later, when I was in middle school and I found out my old teacher and Spanish teacher recently got married. Well, that is very wholesome and very cool. You know what I wonder, actually? If after hearing all their collective students say, oh, primary teacher, you fancy Spanish teacher, and vice versa, maybe they just thought, you know what? The kids are saying it enough. Let's just go on a date. Let's just try it. The kids were the ones who actually pushed them to get married. I can dream of that. I don't think it's likely, but hey, you never know. Oh, but don't worry, guys. We're back to it now. One of my 4th grade teachers seemed a bit creepy and loved taking pictures of his class. Now, I probably would have put my foot down there and said, is that normal? No. Let's just tell the principal or whatever. But okay, let's carry on. A few years later, he got busted with a few gigabytes of child porn on his computer. Great. And this was in the 90s. Much later, like after I'd finished high school and college, I decided to Google his name again. He got out of prison after 8 or 9 years, and then within a year got busted again and immediately went back. Wow. I mean, that's actually so sad and sick. After 8 or 9 years, you haven't learnt your lesson. Yeah, probably got some form of mental illness. What a disgrace. In 2008 or so, a kid was shot at the park by adult drug dealers. The news and reports stated he was some kingpin in the weed trade and had made tens of thousands before getting popped. His parents denied until the investigation found out that he started selling to pay his parents' mortgage and had in fact been selling weed in large quantities. The kid was 15. At 15, he was a kingpin. I mean, yeah, illegal, but gotta say, fair play to the kid. The park we used to play football at used to be a cemetery. They exhumed all the coffins and moved them years before I was born. But we'd freak each other out, especially at night, saying there were still bodies buried there. One day, we were playing and they were doing some groundskeeping work, and they found a coffin. The state came out and found 30 more. We were actually playing on top of hallowed ground. There was a rumour at my high school that the building down the way was a cult. It wasn't unheard of to dare people to go over there, and then you'd end up being followed or sometimes invited to dinner. Wait, sorry? Genuinely? By who? Well, it turns out it was the headquarters of the cult the Duggars were in, IBLP. I was watching that documentary and my mind was blown because all the high school rumours had been true. There you go. One of the teachers in my school got pregnant by a student, but they didn't know which one. She had slept with 7. The comment down below says, dang, parentheses really took that from bad to worse. Yeah, I think it's bad enough getting pregnant with one of your students, but then not knowing which one and she slept with 7. Oh my gosh. I mean, there's a reason why that is on the thumbnail of this episode. There was this absolute jerk in my junior high gym class, a real bully type. And when he would act out, everyone would ridicule him for his mother being a crack W word. And we'd laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. Well, it turned out it was true. There was a public confirmation in the paper and his bullying made a lot more sense because it turned out his home life was what you'd expect from someone having a crack, again, W word, mother. And no one talked about it anymore, and we didn't laugh so much anymore. Ironically, I think he felt so ashamed when everyone found out that he actually stopped being such a jerk. Again, just pretty sad. When I was a child, shakes Kane, we had the legend of the Baroness. Ooh, interesting. Supposedly, she lived in a haunted house and drove around a pink hearse. Well, when I was old enough to drive and explore on my own, I finally saw her in her pink hearse. She also did live in a house that would have coded as spooky or haunted to a small child. It was just an old house with neat architecture, but driving around in a pink hearse, that is really weird. The rumour was that if you rode bikes or four-wheelers down this certain trail, an old man would come after you and attack you. A few years later, some kids were riding four-wheelers down that trail, and an old guy shot and killed them both. Goodness me. The dangest thing, they'd already left his property before he caught up to them, and he killed them on public land. I'm pretty sure he died in prison a few years ago. Rumour about a local businessman who tried to end it all and was rescued. Some weeks later, he ran into a burning building and rescued 2 young children, sustaining severe burns in the process. A few months ago, I saw him in the pub on the green. All of the skin in his face and hands had melted and he had skin grafts everywhere. Happiest man in the pub. What a hero. Wow. I absolutely love that. What a perfect way to end this episode. That right there is phenomenal. What a story. So there we go, guys. That is going to do it for this one. Comment down below. What is a local rumor that you heard as a kid that actually turned out to be true years later? As soon as this episode goes live, I'll be in the comments ready to see what you guys have to say, looking through your replies. I look forward to it, and I hope you enjoyed this one.